really, you know what I'm saying, giving it to God. And but just having some more layers, like I told you, like there is a lot, going on. And yeah, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to continue to make a way out of no way, and it really comes from, I guess, recently I've also had like this extra amount of like vulnerability, man. Really, this like this past weekend as well. Like I just, this sounds crazy, but I was taking a shower and I was listening to service or something, and I felt the shiver down my spine, and bro, like I was kind of like, you know, crying hard, not necessarily because of this, but just like life in general, just like, time to kind of just chill and get a break. And I just was like, I don't know, I just had like a little moment of even more level of like, man, Jesus, like break, like remove, like I'm tired of feeling like X, Y, and Z, like like I know I'm not this, but yet I have things coming to me, attached to me all of a sudden like this, like what's happening, you know what I'm saying? And it really goes beyond, I mean, like our situation entirely, but just, yeah. So I've also had some like very vulnerable, I don't know, moments that you would say with him, and I'm just trying to be obedient, lean into that and stuff like that. That's why like there are different things you tell me. I'm not like I try to just, you know be respectfully, keep it pushing, you know what I'm saying, um and stuff. And you know I kind of prepared myself for this, like, you know I know the hope was to maybe be different by March 4th, but like I already knew that, like, I feel like by February with how you, that it was kind of far from that, I think. And then it was just hard to navigate. You already know, like, how do I navigate, like, being present, but also like being present, but not being seen, if that makes sense. Like, how do I balance that, you know? And that's been very kind of, but yeah, like I said, it don't really bother me too much. It's more so just like a self-discovery thing. But I mean, I'm very proud that God is like discussing and talking with you and stuff like that, and just and we're able to live and grow and all these things. But I definitely know it. I know this is weird to say, but at the end of the day, it all stems back. Again, like I said, I don't know if this is our last conversation, but it all comes back to just what is our individual relationships with the Lord? What does He want for us individually? Because you can't be there for nobody if you're not there for yourself. The moment you feel like, because even if, and I know I said that multiple times, and it's because I had to tell myself that multiple times. I was fighting it within being with you a lot of the times, and it's like so that's been, what I'm saying, my constant prayer every so often for you. It's more so like I pray that, again, you see yourself as what you're supposed to be seeing, and I feel like you're doing all the right steps by like being broken down by Him and to be built up and stuff. But yeah, that's really it. And I know, I told you for a reason way back when. I know it's hard to still speak with me, and I would rather, instead of one, I would, as you can see, I feel like I'm doing a good job of being that flexible, you know what I'm saying, and not being butthurt about it, you know what I'm saying. Like, I know you have your moments and stuff, and I as well. Um, so it's like, yeah, man. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like that's really it. It's like we can't. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about our parents. Not about anybody else. At the end of the day, we allow what we allow. We can only change how we react to certain things and certain things in life and stuff like that. Our families and all that. It's just these are all things that are beneficial, but and we're connected to and we respect. But at the end of the day, God created us like individually, like just for Him, and it's like we got to figure out what that really like means and looks like, and it takes us to get broken down through Him to be really like the polished, I guess, like version of us, and like so even reflecting back on that one conversation you asked me about Bible study, like that's why I said like the Bible study isn't the problem. It's when you go home, are you having your own understanding? Like, are you going, like, are you doing your own, like, reading and stuff like that? Is it, or is it like a, because if not, it's a Bible lecture. It's you listening in. It's not like you bringing in notes and vice versa and stuff like that and everything. Yeah. But, you know, thank you for, I guess, you know, the discernment and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm here, and that's it. Like I said, I really, you know, shoot, I'm here. Always is it. Everything else is still the same. So,
Okay.
great.
I'll
All
talk
right.
to you later and good luck with your call.
Adios.
Appointment right after this, so that's why I had to like put. No, you're good. But yeah, so I just want to like learn a little bit more about you, and like obviously you said that you're very interested in getting into like robotics, and especially joining the Amazon Net team. But like what are other ambitions are you looking to kind of pursue as you're kind of navigating this thing called life?
Do you mean like in general, or do you mean like within like engineering related? Maybe you said.
I mean a little bit of both. Because
Okay.
I know.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. This might be a long one. I'm trying to condense it. So, So again, yeah, my name is Ajar Sharma Carter Jr., junior mechanical engineer from Biloxi, Mississippi. Current, student of Howard. I'm a transfer student, so I actually came into Howard a little bit later in the game for me. I'm a class of 2018 graduate of high school, so I took like some time off for like I went to study neurology for a lot of years of my life, and science really was just something that like made sense, and medicine, was something that to the common eye was like, oh, this is where the money comes in. So like it made sense. It made sense for me. Also was interested in just like understanding the human body and specifically the mind, because I thought like the brain controls everything. That's like the muscle that controls my thoughts. Just your way of thinking alone could, if you internalize an opinion of I'm the best at da 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 da, you could do that. So I just thought it was interesting. And but I took an AP Bio class and I was like, man, I don't know what this is. This is boring. You know what I'm saying? So I took it my senior year, but the problem conflicting me is I still was good at it. So like I hated it, but I was better than a lot of other kids in the class. And I still had my moments because I hated it, because I didn't feel like the passion. But whenever I made strides, it actually made sense. So I ended up going when college hit, it decided this might not be the route for me right now. Let me try to figure out something that makes a little more sense. And then that's whenever I took that time off. And I'm also the oldest of my family. And my parents had me young, so they weren't necessarily like they got married young, so they had me young, and it wasn't prepared for like college and stuff. So I was like, okay, let me just figure this out. Got some money, decided to work full time, and when I worked full time, I ended up getting kind of like acknowledged in the company. I was working my way up a little bit within that year, and I was like, well, I mean, I want to go to school, kill two birds with one stone. I might as well go to my community college and then still keep the job. And that's what I did. And then COVID hit, and it kind of slowed all that process down. And yeah, and then and the reason why I settled this, because now I'm gonna connect everything. So, sorry for you're like, where's it going? So then, basically, when I was in high school, another reason why I decided to stay is because I have I made like a production company essentially. I have a brand called Desire to Make It. I'm actually wearing the shirt right now. Desire to Make It LLC, and that was a brand that I had my own thing. Kind of growing up, I always felt creative, always and working on stuff. And my camera was next to me, but like I do film and things like that, and I ended up missing. I ended up having like some friends of mine that kind of just like wanted to participate, and then we came together, created Desire to Make It, and then that's whenever my focus, I shifted from being like a student to also like kind of like an entrepreneur mindset student in high school. So very early I was kind of balancing just like the need of like how do we delegate these tasks, but also how do I maintain these responsibilities, and I also see that this can be very lucrative and I can go very far. So I was only 15, 16 at the time. And, I did that as much as I could. We made some projects. We never went viral, but we got, like, locally viral. So, like, there were some people that, like, I'll go to Walmart, and I thought my friend was lying because I haven't hit him first. But, like, I'll go to Walmart, and somebody be like, yo, aren't you from the, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. And, but through that, I realized my friends, unfortunately, your friends aren't necessarily your business partners, you know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately. Like, not all friends can be. And so they were my friends at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? They're cool people, but... when it came down to really getting some work, they were a little inconsistent, and it just didn't add anything. Like the ship didn't sail without me, and I really hated to see that. I didn't want that in my life, but it happened. And so from there, I took a pause. But during that gap year, and that's how I'm connecting it, the gap year was a time where I really also thought about that. And I was like, how do I rebrand this into a way that it can actually make sense? Because before I had to juggle being in school, being in a band. I'm still part of the band at Howard University. I'm one of the drumline section leaders, but before in high school I was still in the band. It was like, how do I make that, I make time, and I always had to juggle. So now I was like, okay, I get to have some time and just do this. So I spent that year also like working on that and kind of getting a better understanding of like what the definition of the brand meant and what does it mean outside of that and how does it mature with me. And so all this happened within a year, because then I also figured out that I really liked how things work. Not necessarily how the body worked, but I liked how everything else worked, you know? And then after that, I was like, oh, engineering has to be the way to go. And then to even connect it more, while this channel was still kind of popping, for our physics class, you have to do a Rube Goldberg project, and it's like a whole competition at the end, like the news comes and stuff like that. And we had to turn in a video in the early phase of it, around November. Like you send a little video, you know what I'm saying, work on the project or something, and then, towards the end of, beginning of, Christmas time, December, we do like an official, hey, everybody brings it to the gym, judges goes by, stuff like that. And I posted that video on there, and I only did it because I was like, well, it's too long for me to email it, so I gotta put it somewhere. And then when I did that, I actually had people like react that I didn't think like anybody would, because we make skits and stuff, and we make like short films, so I was in shock. And then they reacted, they all kind of liked it, and I was able to combine my editing skills and shoot it cinematically because I was practicing doing that so much. But then I was able to do it for like engineering, something related. And after that, a lot of people like kept mentioning engineering to me, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I kept bringing that up, and I was like, but it was a seed planted because it all made sense. So yeah. So then after that, going back to the IP day, the days where I was working, and then COVID hit and stuff like that. I kind of just dabbled in a little bit of everything too. So like I said, my Like I'm in like the film industry. That's kind of like where like I like filming things, recording projects, music, like those kind of things. And then in addition, um, just the know-how or like the curiosity of like how this thing works has always been there. And then I always was okay with math and stuff, and that's kind of what like kind of built that thing up. And then ironically, um, today I'm actually like I'm in the process of bringing this back, and
Mm-hmm.
because at the time it was just clothing. I mean just film, but I always wanted to turn into like a clothing brand and stuff like that. Like this is like a sample, but it's actually going to be like officially uh, launching like in a proper apparel brand. I've been working on the e-commerce, so I've been using like Python and a couple other coding languages that like can make sense to kind of embed some of those systems together. So that's exciting. That's also on the resume to try to like, you know, combine both worlds. Like my whole thing is, I know I'm investing in a lot of things, but I'm like, how do I moving it together to like making it seem kind of cool like
Right.
this hat, you know? So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, and yeah, then another thing for engineering is I am very, very passionate of the theme park industry. So my end goal is I really want to work for like the Walt Disney Company, and I want
Yeah.
to work for the Rise. I feel like that could be really cool. And so when I was going to my community college, they have a program called the Disney College Program that had been closed, but it opened back up due to COVID. And I was like, okay. And it was either applied there or maybe potentially applied at Howard. I wasn't too sure if I wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, well, the other one's more competitive, so I don't know. Let's just see. You know what I'm saying? Let's just see. So I applied, and I thought I was no way that I was gonna, possibly get in. I ended up getting into the Disney program, so I was there
Nice.
for like a year, and I extended it a little bit later to like a year and a half. And in
Mm-hmm.
that process, I just tried to get like connected with a bunch of like Disney alums that related to the area, and it honestly worked. The only problem is I didn't have my degree yet. Like if I would have had that, it would have been perfect. And so
Yeah.
from there, um, I actually applied at Howard while I was at Disney, and then I got the green light, and then I only had like a week around turnaround time, and I went from there immediately back to Howard University, where
Okay.
I then started out playing the band again. So after
Mm-hmm.
playing the band for like years at this point, not playing and being able to play at the HBCU level, that was like really cool. As you saw us like recently at the event, so um, and yeah, and then I've been kind of tackling like my engineering journey since. So that's kind of what it is. Like I said, like I'm the left and right side of my brain fight on a regular basis. Like they really do. I'm gonna be honest. So it's like I'm creative by heart, by core. Like I get so much fun by that. But at the same time, when it comes down to breaking some things down and get kind of analytical, I can do that too. So it's like, but
Yeah.
one thing requires more discipline. So it's like sometimes it's like I can do the creative thing, not really think about it, and then other times like okay, maybe I need to lock in on here. So they're
But you know
always
what? It balances out though, because it's like you can be creative using the analytical brain side of your brain to create something that's creative, you know?
hmm
So it's like, it's not a bad thing at all.
right
Like, I think it's very rare for people to be able to use both sides of the brain.
trying,
so,
trying.
so that you're borderline baby genius right
Nah,
there.
nah. And lastly, one thing of me trying, and to be honest, because I'm not gonna lie, I have slipped because of that gap.
Hmm.
It took so long to unfortunately identify this, but like my math foundation is like a little bit slow. Like when it comes to old math, like old algebra or something. 'Cause it's been
Yeah.
so like I finished my math by 10th grade because we're in an accelerated program. So then from 10th grade to now, those 2 years of high school, I took like AP stats. That doesn't really count as math to me. You know what I'm saying? But then after that, I took a little bit in community college, and then I took that time off again. And then it's like I go straight into engineering math. I'm just like, I'll do okay if it's right in front of me, but then it gets to something like that, like they just don't explain because it's like old, like, oh yeah, we're gonna factor this 3-digit number and use the long division, and I'm like, all sounds familiar, but what is that? And then I have to like relearn.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's been something that like has definitely caught me a little bit. But I'm trying to like thankfully identify as a weakness. So I was like, okay, now let's continue.
Yeah.
And then now on the top of my resume is I'm actually working on an independent project where I'm trying to combine both worlds. And for our drums, I'm trying to make an
Hmm.
autonomous tuner for the drums. So basically, you place a pitch in our so like on our drums, it's like we put these like heads on top of our tonal drums, and they basically tune like through tension, like the spread of the page. So like the tighter it is, the higher pitch the sound, and vice versa. And so I, was thinking about my own problems and thinking about the balance of the band and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is something that we actually need. Like, there were so many times where like we have to tune last minute, and it's like you can't get it perfect, or it takes too long, and it's like it's not as efficient. And I feel like this would be something that actually works. So I'm working on that currently right now on my own through CAD, and it's like the goal is to have like an arm that can then spread out, and like each finger basically goes onto like each of like the lug nuts of the drum, and then we're able to like tune it to the proper tension. Like you'll like hit it a couple times and it'll like do a self-correction, and yeah, so that's my attempt to try to, in my adult life now, combine these worlds together.
Yeah.
And yes, ma'am.
No, that's impressive. So I'm not gonna lie, like that's beyond Amazon.
Oh, okay.
But no, I think that's something that like truly like you. Let me put it this way: I feel it would be like, not necessarily, I wouldn't say a disservice if you were to join Amazon, because it's like we need brilliant brains like yours. But like the ideas and like the way you think, I think Amazon would like take that for granted, I would say, in my opinion. So, but Amazon is always an option. It's always, there's a lot of opportunities. But just to like kind of briefly kind of give like, what I do and just a little bit of background. Basically, I came across Amazon, started as a tier 1, came in through the delivery station, like through the delivery operations. And I, like before that, I had my own company where I did a lot of like solar technology, where I would do like abstract solar technology, where I was able to actually build like a solar powered bench where people were able to like charge their phones off the bench, and they would use the solar panel as the canopy, so they were just sitting in the shade as they were charging their phones. So, and I'm from the southeast part of Virginia, so Virginia Beach, Norfolk area. So I was actually was able to build the first solar power bench for the city of Norfolk.
Whoa, okay.
And so basically
cool.
did that. Didn't take off as I hoped, but of course, running a business, money was tight. So came across Amazon and just kind of took advantage of that opportunity. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give myself a year. If I don't like it, I'll find something else. If I do like it, then I have a job. Comes to find out, I did like it. So it was a good, like I had a good run. It's very easy to promote in Amazon, depending on like where you're starting at. But basically, it does require a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of balance and adaptation, because if I were to describe Amazon in 2 words, it would basically be ambiguity meets speed. So we evolve a lot, we change a lot. But because I was in the Navy prior, I was able to adapt and move around and be able to kind of like, be disciplined enough to do the work to get the job done and meet it to the highest standards. So Amazon is very easy when you come from those kinds of backgrounds. But moving on, worked in operations for about 5 years. Eventually over time, I said, you know what, I like to do project management. So I got my PMP and, working in operations. And then I would say about a year after getting my PMP, I was invited to move down to Shreveport, Louisiana. And basically that is where Amazon had built their first robotics center, fulfillment center. So basically where like 70% of the work that was being done was by either through automation or touched by a robot. So we could consider that to be like a Gen 12 in the network. So basically we were able to launch this Gen 12 building, the first of its kind in the world, in Shreveport, Louisiana, of all places, and stayed there for about a year and a half. And then I transitioned over to the corporate side, because I had that exposure to where I applied into launch testing. So, launch testing program management in a nutshell is basically where I have the opportunity to travel to different sites around the country, and I basically launch these next generational buildings with the same generational model type and engineering and robotics in the building. So, what I'm doing is that before the building launches and goes live, and what that means is that you, as a customer, when you order something online and you submit the order, it's the fulfillment centers that are actually processing those orders. But before we can actually do that, we have to test it. So, what I do is considered stress testing the robotics. So, basically, just calibrate, well, partnering up with the teams to do calibration, reconfigure, make sure that the building is actually running succinct with each other, because basically it's the fulfillment centers are like big brains. They're all talking to each other. The robots are basically working in unison to get package from point A to point B, which is out the door. So that's really what I do. But there are other jobs that are adjacent to what I do, so like ops engineering. So basically where they are basically configuring, putting the building together, and they're testing the conveyance and running tests on, the quality of, the conveyance and the robotics and how that integrates. But so like I think but there's like also other like Amazon robotics where you're working directly with the robots, and actually putting configuration testing and making sure the stations and the systems are up and running. So it's like Amazon is very vast. It is huge. So it's like I'm only just a tip of the iceberg of what it requires for us to get a building up and running. So it's pretty impressive, and then, like, definitely, like, if that's something that you're really interested in, I would definitely encourage you to kind of like look into a lot more, because there is a lot of opportunity, and especially with Amazon really focusing on AI, because like right now, like, that's all we're talking about. We eat, sleep, and breathe AI right now. So it's something where it's definitely they're definitely thinking the long term in the future and sustainability in terms of like being able to get the job done and get it done fast, because really that's all the name of the game when it comes to the Amazon culture. I mean, I enjoy it. I like it. It's something different every day. But I know that especially it's a job. Like, there's going to be days where you're going to be like, man, this is trash. Like, but I think also if you have the brain and the ideas and the creativity to bring something to the table to solve a big problem, that's also encouraged. That is something that we always look for in teams, and like basically, to basically push the team forward to the next level, because we're always trying to move the needle in some form or fashion. But is that something, I don't know, well, what are your thoughts? What are your
Well,
ideas?
first off, I know you tried to, like, I guess humble yourself, which is great, as you should. But like the fact that you're able to get like your area like moving forward, and especially like getting like that free energy, I think that's super cool. Even on like just like on a humane level, because I feel like obviously we have to make money to live and things of that nature, of course, but at the end of the day, like, making things to kind of just make everyday life a little more efficient, I feel like that's all what like robotics and engineering like is, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was really cool, and I really appreciate the fact that you were able to kind of start from more of a hands-on approach and then get into corporate, because I know some people in my life that I grew up with, they feel like they can never go corporate or so, because they feel like it's like, there's just, I don't know, they just don't feel the need. They feel like they're just like becoming somebody that they hate or something. But I feel like,
Yeah,
if anything, if you come corporate, you will help change the narrative. You know what I'm saying? If you have that. So like, I
exactly.
appreciate the fact that you've like done that, and especially, I don't know who's on the Zoom, but as this,
Yeah.
as well as as specifically a woman of color, that's
Hmm.
like really really impressive. You know what I'm saying? Like I was really
Thank you.
shocked even when I went to Amazon and seeing so many like black people in the area. So it definitely made me feel
Hmm.
like kind of welcome. And I know, especially with like the events that was like last week, that's not like an everyday thing. So like I know I'm not gonna get like excited and be like, oh my gosh, so many, you know,
Yeah.
us here. But I do, you know, I do like that. And in regards to like the what you were saying, I definitely do am interested, especially just like on like an infrastructure level, like just seeing kind of like how everything's built. I recently even early this semester or last semester I took a trip to the Dewberry firm where they like do like a lot of like uh air conditioning units for different buildings and stuff like that, and that
Yeah.
was interesting. That was just my first time seeing that, but I didn't, wasn't necessarily, drawn to it. But then, just recently, like this past couple days ago, we took another trip to, we saw an engineering team, um, literally build. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's like a place in our a school, and there's like a little tour where we saw like them actively like doing renovation and just seeing
Hmm.
like how every facet of engineering kind of help like build it together. And I think that's kind of cool too, like seeing like where your discipline can like last. So I'm definitely like, interested in regards to the overall like infrastructure. Obviously,
Yeah.
if I had to pick, it would be really cool to work like like with like the robotic arms and things of that nature.
Hmm.
But also to be frank, like I'm also really open because I chose mechanical for its broadness intentionally. Like I really chose it because I just wanted to have an idea or whatever. Like the fact that I take a class of like civil engineers for dealing with the structures of things, and then I'm taking stuff with electrical engineers where I'm learning about circuits and wires, and then we do our own things about like different materials and stuff like that as mechanical. I
Hmm.
think is great food for thought. Sometimes maybe even too much. Honestly, it's like, oh man, it's a lot going on. But yeah, so I'm really just like open on it all. I mean, like obviously, like I'm going to try to find some stuff like that's like related to Biggle, but like I definitely would love to like start somewhere, and I feel like Amazon might be a way for me to start. I would really like to
Yeah.
get an internship for the summer or something that could like help encourage that, so I can have more of like of a more of a like physical in person thing on the resume. In addition,
Hmm.
just learning from just what's around me on a daily basis, and maybe having that
Yeah.
thought change me in an entire different direction. So basically saying I don't want to block a blessing at all. So yeah.
Exactly. No, and like truly, like, and like I said, Amazon is because we're leaning so much into the robotics. Like we are, it's almost like we're trying to monopolize the world, which we are. But robotics and AI is going to be the bread and butter for AI, like Amazon's future. So like you're definitely on the right path in terms of like what you're looking for, like that North Star. So I can actually connect you with someone. She works a lot with the interns,
Okay.
especially like this intern, for
Right.
us, because it's like we're in the space, but I think we need more of us in that space.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
so I can connect. I can send forward you her email, her information, and I would definitely encourage you to reach out to her as well,
Okay.
because she has a little bit more insight on like the internship programs and how students can enroll. So because I'm not too familiar with that side of the house, but definitely there are opportunities, especially like because we have a lot of like robotic centers that mainly focuses on mechanical engineering in Boston and also in Oregon as well. So those are going to be like our two biggest areas where we focus a lot of the mechanical and technical
Okay.
side of the house.
Cool.
So if I find some stuff that I come across with Amazon like opportunities, I'll definitely forward those to you.
Please
But
do.
I
Thank you.
definitely the lady, her name is Michelle Hargrove,
Okay.
and but yeah, I don't know exactly, but she works on the book side of Amazon. So like I can't tell you, but
Okay.
basically, I met her through an interview that we did for an intern, ironically. But yeah, so definitely, I want to stay in touch. So, pardon me, because I didn't catch your name, but how
Oh,
do you pronounce? How do you
so it
pronounce your name?
is. So my name is Jarrick,
Sure.
Jarr. Yeah, so it almost sounds like jar, like a pickle
Hmm.
jar, and like Rick, you know.
Okay,
I don't know,
Jar.
from Back to
Okay.
the Future or something like that, from like Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
But my middle name is Rashawn. So like
Okay.
I go by Rashawn, but on paper my name is Jari. Jari
Right.
McCarty.
The government name.
Right, right,
Gotcha.
right, right. Fun
Gotcha.
fact, fun fact.
Yeah.
I didn't know my name was Jarek until I was 9. I had no idea. Like you
Because they
think
used
of,
to use to listen your middle
yes.
name.
So my mother, so like I'm a junior, so my father, his entire like I have his whole name. So my
Uh-huh.
mom was like, "Oh, I really like the name Rashawn," which is my dad's middle name. And they're like, "Oh, well, might as well just call him Rashawn then, but name him after you." And like that makes perfect sense, I guess, to a grown adult. But for the
Right.
child learning his life and developing, that's a little confusing. So I'm like, so I remember, every time I go to the doctor, I would hear like, Jarek here and there, and I'd be like, why do they keep saying my middle name? Like, it's kind of interesting, you know what I'm saying? Or I just don't pay attention, like I'm paying attention, I'm crying, I don't want to be there. So then one day I moved to a different school district, and like, especially when you're elementary, parents are very, very, very involved with like your school, everything. Like they
Yeah.
literally, especially back then. This is like 2008 or something like that. So, I remember I went to the school district and I saw like my name was already on the desk, alphabetical order, and it says Jarek. And I'm like, huh, I think that's my name, isn't it? And then I went home and I was like, yeah, it's my first name, And then they're like, yeah. And then what made it worse is I feel like they gaslighted me because they're like, they're like, yeah, of course, like yeah, like they made it seem like this is just like a easy like duh, like I'm like, what are you talking about? Because the first name I knew how to write, spell was
Yeah.
all this name, Rashawn. So I'm like, I don't even understand. Like I don't like what are y'all doing to me? Like that's yeah. And now I have conversations like this on a regular basis. Like I have to explain my name.
Like technically, my name is.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, literally. Like to this day, some people will get confused. That's why I truly. It sounds a lot, but I say my entire name like I'm a celebrity or something. Like I say it all.
Yeah, you really did say your whole name.
I do. It's because it's all part of me. You would think I'm Denzel or something. Like no, I'm just trying to. Actually, no, he only just goes by a person. But you know what I mean? Like he I'm like dang. So yeah, that's why. It's because like I want them to know, like I still want them to call me Rashawn, but I
Right.
know on paper it's Yari. And I need you to be familiar enough to where you're like, oh, it's him, rather than you like,
Right.
yeah, oh, and because I have those moments too often. I hate it.
It's okay. That's all right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for clearing that up because I
Oh,
would
of
have
course.
called you Jar. But if you prefer Rashawn, then
Yes, man. Yes, man. I do.
would call
But
I'll
if
continue.
for paperwork purposes, it's okay.
Right.
I've been doing this
But,
for like years now, 20-something years.
But I definitely, because I want to stay in touch, and I know that we connected on LinkedIn, so you still got me through that way as well. But I'm gonna send you Michelle's information, so then you can start reaching out to her.
Okay.
And I think hopefully, like I don't know when the enrollments for internship starts kicking up, but I
Yes.
definitely say like reach out to her as soon as possible. Say hey, like I'm interested in
am.
doing something this summer. And then see what we have for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
Like I am extremely interested. I just want to I'm really thankful. I thank God for like just the opportunity. Because like I said,
Yeah.
we came there for a band performance, and I was like, oh, I got to flip this somehow. So then I
Yes.
I would
See?
so I had to. So I'm very appreciative of you. And thank you so much. And I would if you even want to stop by in our little Zoom session with the other lady, feel free.
Yeah.
Let her know about
Definitely.
about the small bomb we built with the hats and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
All right.
welcome. I appreciate you, Rashawn.
All right,
Have a
bye.
good one.
She got it right, Rashawn. Thank you. That's how you do it, bit Oz. That's how you get a job. You feel me? No.